just bring before you the business of the county, Lord, and our hearts and our lives, Lord. We just lay it all before you. Lord, we pray for a spirit of unity. We pray for peace. And Lord, we pray for our nation as a whole, Lord. Thank you for blessing America, and we want to bless you back. I love you, Lord, and I thank you for Jefferson County. I thank you for our people here. I thank you for our commissioners. Just give them wisdom as they go throughout their day, as they lay policy for all of us, Lord. Thank you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Let's just go down the line. Are you ready?
I'm always ready. Thank you. All right. Public Works, Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations. We have a total of, under the Personnel Board, we have 2 items. Are there any questions as it relates to for acknowledgement only? So okay.
Sorry.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
We have one.
That was both 1 and 2?
Yes.
Okay.
And then for District 1, we have 1 item under the business.
Moved item.
Sorry.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Tyson.
Good morning, Commissioner. Community Development and Health Services Committee, Dr. Hamilton. Skipping all the way down to Dr. Hamilton, Department of Community
Good morning,
Services.
as I come. Just have 2 items this morning. The first one is amendment number 1 to our home ARP grant. HUD has given us an additional $5,389, which will bring the total of that grant to $3,602,800. And number 2 is spending $11,000 that we're giving to the storm shelters for backward.
Move 1 and 2.
Been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have something for the District Attorney, Danny Carr. Is anyone here from his office?
Yes.
I'm here. We're just filling a PA position.
Go ahead.
Hold on.
Second.
Okay, item 1 for the District Attorney has been first and second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, we have something from Family Court. Do we have anyone here from Family Court with a salary increase?
Yeah, they're on the line, Commissioner, but it's budgeted.
Okay.
No question. I move it.
Second.
The item from Family Court has been first and have been second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Imaging Business Machines.
Move it. Yeah, well, I got a question on that one.
Okay.
It's provide professional service for document scanning. Now, we did that, or we had a long contract to do that.
Yes, it's an ongoing contract.
And-
That's where they had their mold down the basement.
Yeah, I was about to say, is that about the mold in the basement?
And you know, there was water and there was a pump down there and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Is much of that salvageable? And what records are we? You know, are we doing probate records? Is that what?
No, these are family court records that they have to keep.
Family
down
court
down-
records, okay.
yes, sir. Down in the basement where that water got down there and got into the boxes, and so they had to have a particular company come in and do that and do the remediation and make sure they had protection there also to make sure it doesn't get into ventilation.
How long do we have to keep those records?
I think, from my understanding, they have to keep them indefinitely. But right now, they're digitizing those records where they're taking them from the boxes where they're mold, trying to separate them, do the mitigation that's necessary, and then scan them in.
So I have a question.
Yes,
Do
sir.
we have any staff that's down there? Of course, we talked about this a couple of years ago, Mr. Martin.
No, ma'am. These are actually outside contractors that's actually doing
No, I'm
it.
talking about we don't have any staff down in that part of the building anymore.
No, no.
So, I mean, we don't even have staff over there in that area, period.
Not down in the basement where those records are and the mold is, no.
Okay. Okay, have we got any kind of long-term solution for mold remediation?
Well, this is
We'll
supposed to
build
solve the
this.
problem.
Yeah.
This is scan them all, get where they don't have to have the paper copies.
No, I get that, but I'm trying to say, because I know we're in a public setting, I'm saying, so we don't have any staff down there anymore, and my question would be, is that the long-term solution is that once it is remediated, our staff returning back there, or what is the long-term goal for that area?
It's my understanding we're supposed to be putting the records now in a position where if there are any that they have to maintain, they will be placed on shelving. But yes, there may be records still down there for any that might be residual records.
So I'm only talking about staff exposure.
But the remediation has been done, hasn't it?
It's ongoing right now because they still have a lot of records left.
Well, I understand on the records, but I'm talking about what caused.
Yes, we're going to take all those records out and then we're going to put them in a pod. Then we're going to destroy all those records.
Okay.
Well, if it seems like I'm asking a lot of questions, that's only because of things that have been stated to me in terms of exposure. So I'm just making sure that if it has been remediated, is there the intent for staff, if necessary, to have to go back into that area, or it has been remediated and the preservation of the files is what we're approving this morning?
My understanding is when we do the remediation, all those files will be electronically kept. And then the staff hopefully would not have, I'm just saying hopefully, wouldn't have to go back down there.
What she's asking, do we have anybody come down there that can get sick?
And the answer that,
Yeah, she tried our best to go around it, but I just go ahead and say it.
So they had boxes and piles on the floor, they flooded, they got mold, that's all been cleaned up, everything will be picked up in case there is a flood again. But if some staff has to go down there, we don't expect there to be a problem.
There we go.
And then I think
There won't
it-
be staff assigned down there permanently, if my understanding at all.
Yeah, but I think also in the future, since obviously this is a flood plain or is in a flood zone, that, you know, we just need to look at that portion of that building long term. You understand? Because it's still going to flood.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to be back to square one.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why we need a new bill.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you get a mover in a second?
Need a second.
I'm moving second.
Okay, it's been first and second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. That's the end of my report. Thank you, Commissioner.
Administrative and Infrastructure Committee and have a couple of governmental agreements, one with Bessemer and the other with Homewood, and they both are about the Lakeshore extension and improvement.
Yes.
Have amendment number 1 to the APAC on-call in-place asphalt services. Then amendment number 1 to engineering service agreement with Kimberly Horn and Associates. There's a contract change order for a relief bridge on Old Springville Road, Bridge Builders of Alabama. And it's very detailed. I appreciate that. Post-construction operation and management agreement. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Shank Properties, Belmont Family, and Birmingham Self Storage have a surplus parcel at 1321 Grants Mill Road. They have an easement for the Alabama Power on MS Avenue Sewage Pump Station. What is MS? How about that? Anybody know?
Chris?
Yes, sir.
MS,
MS,
the acronym.
number 11.
Well, Mississippi, that's actually Mississippi Avenue.
Mississippi Avenue, okay, down there off of Brookline.
Correct.
Okay. Then you have a license agreement with U.S. Steel for Holmes Drive in Bessemer. 1, 2, 3, 4 pay resolutions and a permission to condemn on Cedar Hill sanitary sewer overflow project.
Move items 1 through 17.
Yeah, I've got a
Second. There aren't any
second, but I do have a question on
Yes, sir.
7, 8, and 9, the post-construction maintenance agreements for, what do those do, basically?
So those, what are those agreements? It's just these businesses through their permitting process have some type of on-site stormwater, probably like a detention or retention pond. So our MS4 permit requires them to have a post-construction maintenance agreement. So every year they inspect it and they're required to maintain their ponds.
Okay, good.
This is, Chris, I appreciate that, appreciate the diligence on that. This is one of the areas that has been lacking in the past, on not with the county, but with different municipalities of keeping that up. And appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask this question too, Mr. President. So on number 5, when we talk about Old Springville Road, is that like, I'm sure when I see Turkey Creek, is that going in the direction of Clay?
Yes,
Probably even
That's
further
right in the middle
past.
of Clay.
that's right.
Okay.
It's an ongoing project.
I'm
that we're having to-
getting a lot of comments about it. Because we got the road closed, yeah.
Oh, okay, you didn't like it.
Uh,
You didn't like it.
yeah.
Okay,
But we're good.
yeah. No, I just wanted to know, because I'm on the other side of Ocean River Road, so I wanted to know how far up was it going.
Oh, it's in Clay.
Okay.
Okay, from the county attorney's office, a minute from the September 25th meeting.
Did you get a second?
We got a second.
Move.
Oh, you moved it to? Okay.
Did we vote? All right, I move 1 through 8 on the county attorney.
Second. You got any more on the second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You gonna do the same thing as county manager, Joe?
Pull items 1 and 2.
Military, yeah.
Let me, I do have, yeah, I'll second that, but what is the mural, Women on the Journey?
It's,
What is that?
There was a
This-
group that applied, sent a request to Commissioner Tyson, they want to put up a display and awareness for breast cancer month
Where at?
October, downstairs in the lobby.
in the lobby, and I believe through the end of October, we'll take it down.
Okay. All right.
Motion second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Um,
We're doing shooting another movie, The Other Side of the Window.
Move on.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And there's a resolution that the Association of County Commissioners have asked us to present for a resolution supporting the Alabama Simplified Sellers and Use Tax Program.
I'll move it, and I have some documents.
Documents.
Yes.
We have a motion, and we have a second.
Second.
All right. These are the facts. Joe, you want to go ahead and go with that? Well, let's go ahead and vote, and you can do it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, go ahead.
This is just county commissioners' stamps on the facts about the SSUT. How does it work? How does it affect the cities and counties? And whether or not it's a tax revenue or use revenue. And then there's been an issue with bigger cities that it's a threat to them, and that addresses that. And so this is just something that's out there that's a little bit contentious, so we'll continue to work to try to get it resolved, because I don't know if the legislature will address it in this session. If they do, then we'll have our position well stated by the ACCA. So that's it.
All right. Any questions on this? That represents a significant amount of our revenue that we're able to utilize and return to these citizens. So it is something that we need to be aware of and keep it on the front burner as best we can. Commissioner Knight?
All right, finance. My great CFO. Ms. Dixon.
Good morning, Commissioners. We have 6 items today.
It's more than that, all of them.
We have our encumbrance
Let's
reports,
keep it
our
up.
purchasing exception report, and our purchasing agenda report.
All right, I have the finance reports on items 1 through 6. Do I have a motion?
Move on.
Motion?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
We have our budget management office, our multiple staff development, individual staff development, and information items.
Do I have a motion on the development? Have a motion?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, developmental services. Mr. Morrison, are you going to present that? Nope. Mr. Johnson.
Good morning, Commissioners. Today we have before you an update / amendment to Jefferson County zoning ordinance. For everyone listening, I want to clarify that this is for the unincorporated portions of Jefferson County. These regulations do not apply to any municipality. So to kind of backtrack in terms of how we got here, so for us to update the zoning ordinance, in the manner that we did, which was a fairly significant overhaul, we had to go through the comp plan adoption and future land use amendment. So the comp plan has been a process that's kind of been ongoing now for several years. We've recently had it adopted by the Planning and Zoning Commission this month. And that sort of gives us the why, and the future land use map is the where, and the zoning ordinance is the how. So that's where we're at. It regulates development within Jefferson County. And to give you all kind of a quick overview of the comp plan, how we got to those recommendations, we had various public involvement meetings, online surveys. We looked at case history within our zoning cases, our variance case before, looking at the history of Jefferson County, how everything is developed within the county, and as well as a lot of data. And also we met with most of the individual cities within Jefferson County to try and incorporate their planning efforts and their comprehensive plans within ours so that there's no contradictions. As part of the comp plan, we did a SWOT analysis. So Jefferson County has a lot of strengths in terms of land development. We've got strong industry clusters. We have good transportation, fairly low cost of living. Those industrial parks kind of help with that economic development that we have within the county. And then we have good employment destinations within and outside of the county. Some of the weaknesses that we identified, and these are things we feel like we can mitigate with the plan or hopefully eliminate, is the lack of workforce housing. We do have higher commute times within Jefferson County. A lot of that has to do with neighboring counties, residents such as Shelby and Tuscaloosa coming into the city center. We have some infrastructure challenges in terms of expanding sewer. We have urban and rural blight, as well as some vacant and underdeveloped properties in the county. Opportunities are how we try to mitigate those weaknesses. We looked at mixed-use developments as a possible solution, medium-density housing, continued targeted industrial recruitment, bolstering up our industrial parks that we have, JeffMet West, JeffMet North, and then regional collaboration among the various counties around us, but then also with the cities. So threats, these are things that are hard to do anything really about. We have a lot of cities within Jefferson County. Population-wise, there's Boise County, there are a lot of municipalities. That makes coordination fairly difficult. We have some disinvestment from the private sector in some marginalized areas, and that kind of goes hand in hand with blight. And we've got interstate and highway capacity problems, which sort of spills over into those transportation commute times, and then suburban sprawl as well. The other thing in working with the Home Builders Association, as a lot of you have seen, even though interest rates have gone up, construction costs really haven't gone down. So that means that we're seeing we're seeing the pressure for smaller, more dense residential builds within the county. So strategic goals for the county, really what we looked at was economic development. That's the central focus of the plan. And then balancing economic development with workforce housing. How does workforce housing support economic development? And then how do we balance economic and real estate development within the county while continuing to preserve recreational and farmland as well as natural undisturbed areas. Then identifying other areas that need additional preservation clauses and provisions. And we also looked at improved transportation mobility, and that kind of looks like multiple different ways. That's everything from sidewalks to the Northern Beltline. So in terms of economic development, we talked about, as we went through the future land use map, we increased the number of parcels that we designated as supported for an industry. A lot of that was based off of their proximity to the interstate, as well as transportation infrastructure, but then also targeting those industrial areas where we're seeing a lot of persistent blight, underemployment, and unemployment, so that we can try and bring in employment to those areas that have high wages and a high number of jobs. And we want to continue to support our industrial clusters within the county. The county is very blessed in a lot of ways because we do have a very strong medical hub, but then we also have a diverse economy with a lot of our industrial parks and manufacturing where we're not just wholly dependent on one particular industry. And then improving transportation always improves the way that people and goods move, and so that's another goal for the county. So as we went through this process, we had to identify new future land use designations. So these land use categories that we're about to show you have multiple zoning designations that fall under them. Natural areas, fairly self-explanatory. Those are areas that have, they're sensitive to wetlands, slope zones, floodplain, as well as areas that have terrain challenges. Rural is a little more developed. We don't have a ton of farmland in Jefferson County, and that's one of the things that we're trying to preserve and hopefully increase. Estate residential is going to be your larger house, larger lot type residential development. Suburban is your typical quarter acre or thereabouts, residential house. And then mixed residential is a new category that we're adding, and that kind of falls into that workforce housing category that we're trying to shore up. On the commercial side of those land use categories, we have commercial corridor. That's going to be your typical, strip centers and gas stations. That land use is more appropriate along arterials and collector roads or near interstate interchanges. Neighborhood center is going to be kind of like a pocket area of hopefully high walkability that provides goods and services to the local market. Activity center, you think of something like UAB West or a mixed-use development where you've got a lot of supportive residential around it as well as supportive retail and commercial that kind of is anchored by a larger development. And then employment center is going to be your typical industrial park as well as any manufacturing facility that has a higher employment count. So as we went through this process with the comp plan, we went through as best as we could parcel by parcel, which was a big lift for myself and my staff to identify where these land use categories need to be applied to. So just to kind of give a real quick 1,000-meter overview of this, we'll start with the McCullough area. We had a lot of diverse land use that we identified in that area, and a lot of that is trying to respond to the development pressure as well as just general feedback and zoning case history. We recognize that the southwestern part of the McCullough, as you get toward Tannehill, that needs to remain natural, undisturbed, or rural. As you get closer to the interstate and closer to some of the road improvements and where sewer access is there, and then also could be potentially expanded, that's where we recognize that there could be an increase in residential and commercial, residential density and commercial intensity that would support economic development within the county and then support the investment that's already been made in the hospital and JeffNet West. As we go up to Forestdale, just kind of looping around, that was another target area for us. We recognize that Forestdale has seen declining traffic counts, declining, very, very slow but persistent decline in population. And so we're trying to figure out ways to recruit, employment in that area to increase the traffic as well as increase commerce in the area. A lot of the feedback we got in Forestdale from the residents was that they were tired of seeing the same, fast food restaurants, the same lack of diverse food, lack of grocery stores. So we designated Forestdale Boulevard / Highway 78 as an activity center, and then Cherry Avenue, we have that designated mostly as neighborhood center so that we can try and get some localized business. So the idea is to kind of create some synergy and hopefully some walkability between Highway 78 and Cherry Avenue, where we have a lot of commerce in that area and employment. As you get up to Mount Olive, in that area, that's another area we identified for neighborhood center and activity center. A lot of that is based off the Northern Beltline coming through, and then pretty much everywhere else where we have a planned interchange in Jefferson County for the Northern Beltline, we designated that as an activity center. We wanted to get ahead of that to make sure that where those interchanges are going into, that they're not being encumbered by commercial uses that don't employ a lot of people or don't really generate a lot of revenue, since the purpose of the Northern Beltline is economic development. We also designated Hallmark Farms as an activity center, and of course JeffNet North, that entire site, and some of the parcels around it are designated as employment center. And as you can see from the legend at the bottom right corner of the map, the majority of the land in Jefferson County is remaining natural and rural. The other, the addition to the zoning ordinance that we're adding is taking what's called a context-based approach. So you've got your land use map, which is kind of categorically and then spatially defining where we feel like the highest and best use of the land is, and then also taking the context of those areas that's there and then maybe what should be there, and applying that to how these proposals come before the County Commission and P&Z in terms of their layout. That takes shape in terms of sidewalks, connectivity, sewer infrastructure. So really saying when we bring you all a staff report for a residential development or something that's a little bit larger, we want to be able to tell you, hey, this road layout is consistent with connectivity, or it's consistent with the rural character, consistent with the urban general character based off what's around it and what's planned, so that we have really a better understanding for you all in terms of what you'd like to see in that area. We've got a lot of disconnected subdivisions in Jefferson County and a lot of isolated pockets of residential development that really expands our transportation and sewer infrastructure a lot further than it probably should be, and that's what we're trying to mitigate.
But
yes, ma'am.
But don't they don't want any one building over there. They don't want it's isolated.
That's what we're trying. That's what we're trying to reduce. Yeah, because we've got as you all have seen, they come to for P&Z and for rezoning cases, we're getting these sort of shotgun pattern residential development proposals where they're just kind of going as far out as they can to get cheaper land. So we're trying to cluster that together to reduce sprawl in a lot of areas. So as we're trying to address workforce housing, one of the concepts that has been a trend across the country has been the missing middle, and typically that takes the form of medium density housing. And think of that in terms of cottage courts, multiplexes, quadplexes, courtyard boulevard, live work units. That's something that really we've seen that's lacking in Jefferson County and most places have across the country. The typical residential proposals that we see and that other places see as well is it's either single family detached or we go to the complete other end of the spectrum for a mid-rise multifamily. And so the idea is that we would target certain areas that are around the interstate that have good transportation infrastructure, near schools, near employment centers, to try and reduce that housing shortage in the county with something that's a little more dense without allowing, the typical suburban sprawl that eats up a lot of our farmland and natural areas. And so in terms of those zoning categories, we're introducing a lot of new zoning categories to an already fairly beefy document, but the intent of that is that we have a very diverse county, and it takes a diverse zoning ordinance to address all the problems and the issues that we're trying to address with it. So we have a state 3 and a state 4 that's going to be for attached and semi-detached housing that's going to be a little bit larger. We already currently have townhomes and duplexes in the zoning ordinance, but they're fairly small lot size and fairly small minimum square footage. So in our opinion, this kind of gives the county commission another option in terms of saying, okay, we see what you're trying to do, we see that this employment is near, or we see that this proposal is near employment, but we'd like to see something that's a little less dense, a little more well built out, and a little more well designed than your typical townhome or duplex development. Live work unit, that's going to be kind of a mixed use unit where you have ground floor retail or office use with a living dwelling unit above that in accordance with the residential code. Cottage has replaced the old RG that has been fairly controversial in the past, and the idea with that is to increase the minimum road frontage in front of it, as well as increase some design standards for sidewalks, as well as the materials that they're built out of. Multiplex, think of that as kind of a 6 to 8 unit development that's not really an apartment complex, but it's a little bit more dense than a single family detached unit. Really the same thing for building a courtyard. It has more than probably typically 6 to 8 units, but you also have larger common space. The other thing that we've really been getting a lot of pressure for and a lot of requests for is accessory dwelling units, or quote granny flats. And that's been something we haven't been able to accommodate in the past, as we see an aging population, individuals that want to move in with their family and things like that, or be on the same lot. This gives them that option. So the controls that we've implemented within the zoning ordinance is that it has to be an immediate relative, and they have to be on the same utility meter. This is to keep people from renting that out or doing Airbnbs or something that really would be undesirable or character within that area. It also has to be the same architectural style as the main structure, and it has to be proportionate to the size, so it can't be the exact same square footage as the principal structure. And then cottage court is another one that scored very well.
Hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
What does the acronym ADU stand for?
I'm sorry, accessory dwelling unit.
Accessory dwelling unit?
Yes, ma'am. Another term people use is like mother-in-law flat or something like that.
Say it again.
They call them mother-in-law flats, granny flats.
It's like a garden home flat?
Yeah, used to we would have to have a subdivision for that, and this is going to still require a subdivision? Or is
No, sir, this would not, however, it would be, like I said, with it being in the zoning ordinance, you all be aware if you ask those questions to the developer, coming in what they plan on really as part of that. Really, this would take place where I see it, and really where it only get allowed would be where you have like your R1 or E2 or E1, where they've got a little bit bigger of a yard and they can.
These are things we want, right? We don't have this.
No, we don't have. It's not allowed really at all. We've had a couple of variance cases that have sort of let them go through. But
currently, guest houses and garage apartments are allowed on appeal to the Board of Zoning Adjustment. It's fairly frequent that they get those requests, and so over the course of about the past 25 years, there's only been 2 requests that were denied, and those were both in the 1990s in a very dense development like in Pinson. So other than that, they've always been approved. So this one just allowed them by right without having to go through the public hearing process. housing.
But it's not like a Butler building you put in your backyard and put your folks in.
No, we're not putting anybody in a tough shed or anything like that. This is supposed to be actual.
That's what they call a husband flat.
Yeah.
My wife calls it a she shed.
And the other idea behind that is to be transparent, is that if we can free up existing housing inventory for seniors that need that extra space or want to be able to move in with their kids, and maybe, like in my case, help with my kids, that frees up the existing inventory for other people and making housing a little bit more affordable.
What is the minimum requirements to have a ADU?
I have to go back. I think Michael, wasn't it something like 20% of the principal structure? We had some thresholds where it was proportionate to the main house. And it still has to have a kitchen, still has to have a bathroom. It has to meet all the requirements.
It has to meet the
It has to be habitable. And it can't be a pool house or something like that.
Even if it's like because I know, and it's a garage, and then they have like a loft on top.
Yes, ma'am.
And it has a bathroom and everything in there. So is that legal?
Yes, ma'am. That would be under this, correct?
They got a place for you.
Yeah.
They got one.
Well, I don't want to stay with mine.
Sure, you look telling too many steps.
I don't want to. I get too many steps up.
A couple of other categories we added that are fairly unique. Conservation districts, that kind of replaced, I guess.
Just before we leave that subject, other than the ADUs, is there any developers out there really wanting to do these other type of situations other than coming in with the small neighborhoods and houses that are real close together?
Yes, sir. So we've had probably 4 meetings now with the Home Builders Association, and this is something they've been, in my opinion, from the feedback they've given us in writing and verbally, very excited about. I think it's going to take them a little bit of an adjustment to try and alter their business practice or development patterns to try and accommodate these. But the feedback we've gotten has been very positive on that. Right now, they're really limited to either doing townhomes or garden homes or something less dense. I think this opens up the housing a little bit more.
Thank you.
So going back to this, we also added 3 new zoning categories. Conservation district is supposed to be kind of like a little bit more agricultural preservation area, and it also basically replaces the old PUD where we had something, I believe it was 30% common space or open space had to be preserved. So what we did was we fleshed that out a little bit better because that common space really wasn't defined well. We had a few developers coming in that really just had like a depression or a pit in the ground that you couldn't build anything on, and they would buy it and say, okay, here's my common space, and it wasn't usable. It didn't really have any utility for any of the people living there. Village districts, I think of that as kind of a mixed-use development district that's going to be similar to like a Mount Laurel or the Preserve in Hoover. Kind of a restaurant, retail that serves primarily the local market. The town center district, that's going to be a little more dense, and you think of that as something like Providence and Huntsville. I don't want to throw red flags out because the intent of this district is that it's going to be located proximate to the interstate. We have a lot of controls that are in that, and the idea is that if we have someone that wants to come in and build a mixed-use development, we have a good quality development with good connectivity, and we're not just trying to shove a bunch of apartments in without the commercial and retail space that we need to kind of sustain that. All right, so to wrap up, our zoning ordinance highlights here, we basically, these medium density housing options we have, they have increased design standards. They have to be built with natural materials. They have landscaping requirements. They have they have park requirements, and they also have more design requirements. All those are going to go to the PUD committee before they go to P&Z, and then before they come to you all to make sure that they're architecturally consistent with what's around there, but then also that they have the right infrastructure and layout. We increased, so for typical single-family detached housing, the standard lot width is 65 feet of road frontage. There are some caveats and exceptions to that if they were to provide like a rear-loaded alleyway development, or if they have a side-loaded carriage garage, they can reduce that about 5 feet. We've added more mixed-use development categories. The other thing we're adding is we added an institutional core category that is especially targeted around UAB West. And the idea of that is to cluster medical supportive industries around the hospital so that we kind of have that spillover benefit and we don't have development coming in that's incompatible with what's been invested in that area. We're also adding a provision for tiny homes, and those are going to go into the A1 area now where we also already allow mobile homes. We've had several requests for tiny homes within Jefferson County. Our minimum square footage right now for any residential development is single-family attached residential is 600 square feet. We're dropping that to 400, and the house can be built. It has to be stick-built. It has to be built on site. You can't go buy it off the Facebook Market or go to Home Depot and get a shed and say, this is my new house. And I say that because it's happened several times. So we're trying to mitigate that in areas where it makes sense, in rural areas, where it's not going to be very dense or overwhelming to the character of the community. I think it does make sense on your 1 acre lots. We're also adding overlay protections for environmentally sensitive areas. We're adding a slope zone protection category. It's something that we've seen in other districts like Huntsville where they're trying to preserve, environmentally sensitive areas. We also have an overlay for the northern belt line, and the idea is to kind of protect the alignment of the interstate so that we don't have an interstate jutting through a neighborhood or something else that gets built that's going to increase the cost or possibly break up a neighborhood, which has kind of been the historical trend in the past of interstates doing that. We also are adding increased life safety provisions in terms of adopting the some of the appendices in the fire code formally for secondary access as well as storm shelter provisions. Basically, we're trying to make our houses in Jefferson County more resilient to tornadoes. We have a very high risk for tornadoes in Jefferson County. And then we're also sort of sorting up our admin review for rezoning cases. If it's a fairly intense development, we're going to require a traffic impact analysis up front before it comes to P&Z, before it comes to the county commission. If it's a upzoning request from something like an agricultural to a manufacturing use, we want to see an economic impact analysis to kind of support that request. And we also added some private sewer management provisions related to infrastructure.
What are the lot sizes for the tiny homes?
That's going to be a 1 acre lot, so that's 100 feet of road frontage minimum.
In agricultural zoning, yes, that's correct. We're also allowing them in places like mobile home parks and in our old mining camps like Docena, Robinwood, where they need an affordable housing option.
But one tiny home per acre?
One tiny home per lot. It would be one tiny home per acre in A1. For R6, I believe the minimum lot size is 6,000 square feet, but that would have to, of course, be serviced by sanitary sewer.
I mean, could you get like 4 or 5 in an acre?
No, it would be one per lot. That would all be.
But I mean per acre.
Well, again, per acre, I need that. Again, if a lot is 1 acre, then you would only get allowed for one tiny home.
In what area are these going?
Again, we've written provisions to allow them as a affordable housing option in places like Docena, Chapel, and Martintown, and Robinwood. Areas like that, the former mining camps that have been declined. And we've had requests over the years for things like mobile homes and other affordable housing options and tiny homes.
Well, let me ask this. So especially when we're talking about Docena, a tiny home would still not be comparable to, we would only be looking at a tiny home, we wouldn't be looking at mobile home structures in the same community.
Well, again, we've had demands for the mobile home structures.
In that area?
Yes, ma'am.
So then let me ask this question. I'm sorry, Joe. So let me ask this question. I understand about you speaking of the parcel N1. I guess that would bring me to the quality of the tiny home or any structure that it is complementary to the existing properties. And don't get me wrong, I know that there's a great need for enhancement. I just don't want it to be where anything can be considered an enhancement. I'd really like for it to be something nice.
Yes, ma'am. So
affordable but nice.
Yes, ma'am. They have to be built to the same standards of the residential code, just like a single-family detached.
No. I'm not speaking of just the residential code. I'm talking about in terms of the compatibility to the existing homes that are in that area.
Yes, ma'am. So it would be We don't, we don't have.
I look for them to
architectural
make sure the
standards.
comps go up, not down.
Correct, yes, ma'am. I understand.
Okay, if I mean, since saying the Scooby Coos are not getting it today. So I just want to make sure that it will increase the property values in that area.
Yes, ma'am, I believe it would, and the reason for that is we're having, as you know, Commissioner, a ton of demolition activity in blighted property, arson in Docena, and again, we're trying to curb that. It's an area that's seen better days, and we're trying to turn it around as best as we can.
I get it, but what I do want to also mention is that you're near the interstate of 269.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think that if we develop it properly, some families that had left the area will return if we're building something that is a good product. You know, and I understand that it's affordable housing, but understand that my plea is I don't want it to become, and I'm sure other commissioners will feel the same, if we're doing something for a tiny house, I don't want it to turn into a mobile parking lot where we got a lot of mobile homes in the area instead of us taking the time to really build a community for real community development. I'm saying, does this address that?
So where we are with the mining camps in particular, Robin, where those all these older historic areas, those are currently, most of them are zoned R6S, is that right? R1S.
Either zone R6 or R3.
R3. So within the update, we did allow for mobile homes to be permitted in those areas. Some of them, we've had a lot of people bring mobile homes in anyway, and they're just bringing them in without electric permits. And we've had several on the demolition list from that, of folks just dragging them out there. So we're trying to mitigate that, take them through the right process. And then also for the tiny homes, again, those would all have to be stick-built. They would not be any type of prefabricated house that can come in and just be dropped off. If we need to look at more provisions for that to maybe, I guess, potentially address the design characteristics around the tiny homes, we can do that.
Well, that and even with these mobile homes, because I mean, you have some that they may not be as updated, and you can go and purchase them, and they're not necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing type of mobile home. And so I just didn't want that to turn into you getting rid of a lot of depreciables already, and then you turn around and you give, I know the difference. So I'm just saying I don't want this to turn into a mobile home park, so to speak, and then we don't even have something quality there, because it can repopulate as you're in between 269 intersecting with Minor Parkway.
Absolutely.
So people come back if we do what we need to do, and hopefully it will spur some economic development along that road as well, because that's what we're in need of.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Have you seen the tiny home development in Atlanta?
No, I've seen the one in Savannah. It's done very well.
I know you ain't talking about building them kind of tiny homes. Because, but I'm serious, because the tiny homes you talking about has no comparison to those. So why we're not building those kind of tiny homes?
Well, it would again, it would be up to whoever's coming in and bringing those to us. We're just setting the guidelines for what they're allowed to bring in.
You building tiny homes more for like homeless tiny.
No. This is the typical request we've gotten, and we had one actually last week, was a lady that couldn't get her power on, and she lived out on 1 acre in, I believe it was northwest Jefferson County, and we didn't have a way to permit it because we didn't have a code compliance effort, and it was below the zoning, it was below the square footage for zoning. And so typically where I believe we're going to see this at is going to be in rural areas on 1 acre tracts.
But you know the ones I'm talking about in Savannah.
I've seen the ones in Savannah,
Yeah,
and I haven't seen the one in
nice.
Savannah. Yeah. The community in Savannah is very
They're
nice.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
I move. Oh, need a second. You second?
Yeah.
I have a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good job.
A lot of work went into this, guys. A lot of feedback.
We can tell.
The Greater Birmingham area home builders had a lot of input into it. And I want to compliment the staff because Joe and I were taking a lot of heat because we weren't approving any of these developments that were coming, and it was hurting the county, but we did not have the right place and the right mix to put it where it needs to be. This will give us that tool to do it. And thank you very much.
Good roadmap. Good. Well done.
Hey, Josh, excuse me, Joe. So,
You're out
what
of
have you?
Go ahead.
So, with the home builders, you've been working with the entire board, or just?
I've been meeting mostly with their leadership. I've done 2 presentations now to their entire body and gotten their feedback as well. We had several that are not a part of their board that also came in as we've done these sessions.
Okay.
I believe we've done very, my opinion, I believe we've done very good.
So you would say that you've done a very deliberate effort to make sure that they were a part of it, and that they should see what they were hoping for in this plan.
Yes, ma'am, and from the feedback we've gotten, I believe they're very largely satisfied with it. They've got some, they have some, I don't want to call them hiccups, but some things like the minimum road frontage that they're a little bit, they'd like to see reduced, but all in all, they're very happy with it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, appreciate you.
All right. General Services. Ms. Wilkin, are you on?
I am here representing Commission. We have
The
2
commission.
more items.
You got some zoning, Gary.
Oh, that's right. See, I just get so excited.
Move items 1 and 2 if there aren't any questions.
How about 3?
Excuse me, 2
Yeah.
and 3, please forgive me.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Wilkins, substitute, would you please?
Yes, so we have 4 items. The first is a emergency repair for fire service line in the Bessemer Annex, and the 6 repair contracts for a total of approximately $45,000 to fix that. The next 2 are on-call contracts for maintenance for the coroners, and then the last is a contract for the ongoing code compliance projects.
All right. Do I have any?
Move items 1 through 4.
All right. Motion, second. Do we have this preventive maintenance contract for the coroner's facility? What is that?
So those are 2 contracts that one maintains their HVAC and the other, because it's new integrated equipment, and then the other is for AV equipment within the building. So this
Was
is
it like for an intercom system or something?
they have
It says HVAC.
one's HVAC, the other is AV, audiovisual, which is part of they have some integrated systems that assist them with their work.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to support it, but I was really heavily talking about number 3.
Yeah.
In terms of.
So it's in their active work area, it displays things, and.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Is it like a video wall?
They have a video screen in front of the table where the body's laid, so they can x-ray it, or whatever. Have on, not quite full size, but about a 75% size x-ray while they're working on the body. It's pretty neat.
All right.
Well, people need to see it.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That concludes my report.
Mr. Boland has 1 item, 2 items. He has 1 in information technology.
I move his.
Second.
Both of them.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? County Attorney.
We're moving right along.
County Manager.
Very good. Just want to thank Josh and Heather, Darren, and everybody on the comp plan. You, Commissioner Stevens, Commissioner Knight, appreciate y'all's patience, all the commissioners. That's a big load to get that one done. Thank you.
It is, and I appreciate the engagement and effort to do that. Any commissioners? You gone? Yeah?
Want to check out our tiny home?
Yeah. Anything, Joe?
We're good.
LaShawn?
Tony, and that UT stuff, y'all just take a look at that.
LaShawn, we're good.
Okay.
Meeting's adjourned.